Had a little crash there with Facebook Live, so we'll do a part two for this. So we're talking about this week's astrology, and so what it boils down to, I don't even remember where I left off. It's a little Mercury retrograde tech glitch. I haven't had too many of them, but they happen. I mean, really, there's a lot. There's a lot going on this week, but honestly, it's one of the most positive weeks that I've seen in a really long time. Like, it's the type of thing where it's like, okay, like, even just looking at the full moon in Aquarius, like, there's this masculine, feminine opportunity for healing. Like, there's an opportunity for vulnerable, brave talks, both like, from a more world collective standpoint, but even like those individual talks. And I think that ideally, like, this week, because there's such a calling of positivity for connecting with like what feels like what soul family, like with the whole Jupiter Venus part of it, how Uranus and Gemini, Mars and Libra are interacting with everything so well. It's like syncing up with community, right? Like connecting with people and having those conversations. And so it's like a lot of times, like, where we create the conflicts is in our own head and in isolation, right? But it's like going into the connections with people to actually like talk these things out, and not the people pleasing aspect of things and trying to persuade like for one direction or the other, to just like give power away, to give autonomy away. It's like, but ideally it's like lifting the vibration to a point where it's like going, okay, well, if we keep the vibe high, we listen to our instincts, our intuition of like what we're being called to do. It's like you tend to end up around the people that are vibrating at the level that you want to be around. And so then it's not even like a thing of like having to like work through so much conflict, and it gets like easier, because then it just becomes this, yeah, like you bring your thoughts, I bring my thoughts, and like the trailhead is like where they merge and come together. But then, there can be like the triggers and the opportunities for healing very much, especially on the full moon this week, that allows us to like get to a place of, especially as long as like with that dark moon, Black Lilith that's in Libra, that's going to be interacting with that full moon, but opposing Chiron in Aries. That full moon Aquarius making good aspects of that Chiron in Aries, but also Lilith. It's, as long as it's not just like the verbal diarrhea of just saying the thing to be antagonistic on purpose, like, there's opportunities to like work through the triggers and to kind of like take a breath and actually like work towards understanding. Like, there's really no, excuses for staying in the conflict, other than just the people that just don't play well with others. They just get to get rooted in their ego. So, I mean, really, this is a lot of like how we get through the chaos this week, is just in that alone. Now, I will say that I think it's helpful to, share some of my experiences this week of like navigating this astrology, because I mean, we've already been in it with this kite formation. And I was having a lot of, shoulder pain, and it's like very like Mars South Node in Virgo thing. And it was like, okay, what is this related to? And it's like, okay, carrying too much responsibility for others. It's not really my responsibility for the world. Like doing this like work, I had to like set some really hard boundaries with like what I give and just like who I connect with, because, sometimes people, for whatever reason, think that I'm just like, Papa Robin Hood over here or something, and he's like gonna help them out with all their problems. And it's like, nope, I don't do that. Time, energy, it's valuable. It's like, there's one easy way to know this week where you stand with your self-worth and your value of what you're meant to be connected to. It's that Venus Jupiter this week of how you feel, because honestly, like, the shadow aspect of Jupiter and Venus coming together where they're at in the zodiac is anger. It's frustration, but it's frustration because the creative energy, the passion, the positivity of those two benefic positive energies like coming together to create in a very divine, feminine, expansive, but still a blend of masculine and feminine energies like coming together to like explode the potential in a good way. But the anger, like, you know, like emotional boundaries being crossed where there's like not protection, it's looking at that, you know. So it's like I've been seeing where that like anger like comes up in the body and going, okay, well, you know, what is this related to? And using that trigger, that discomfort of an emotion that feels intense and going, what direction do I want to go, you know, with this? Like, what is it that in my personal life and my emotional world and my vision of where I want to go, of what it is that I want to manifest, do I need to like do a quick little emotional pivot? And then it's like, boom, like it's that very expansive energy that like grows. And so this energy is here to not only create with, but it's also very fertile, receptive energy too. It's this very divine mothering energy. Like, I think honestly, the biggest godsend this week is most definitely, I mean, there's a lot, but it's like that Jupiter, Venus, and Cancer, this reminder that it's like, hey, like, we all need to connect with the cosmic mother of just like knowing like you're okay, you're supported, you're protected, you're eternal. Like, there's empathy, even if like you mess it up, you know, like you make your messes. It's like, and no one wants to hear that on like the more collective status quo level, because like there'll be, you know, these things of like wanting quality and justice, and you know, these just call for my side versus your side. But it's like there's this very nurturing energy to be like, hey, like, rest if you need to, take a break, don't push so hard. Like, that regardless of what your affiliation is, like with anything individually, on a group level, like a religious level, a political level, whatever it is, it's like everyone needs that reset, needs that nourishment to receive the abundance and the prosperity of whatever it is that's going to help. You could say kind of like reset life a little bit, like renew it, to actually like move forward in this really positive way. And so the biggest thing this week, I would say, is like, it's this mothering energy, like bringing in the feminine, like, because otherwise it becomes like this thing of just like being buoyed at sea and just getting bounced around and then angry and upset about not getting something because it's still being hooked into the old reality. South Node Virgo, it's supposed to look like this. What? It always worked like this. The system's not working. The machine of my life, my, you know, disciplines, my devotions, my how I serve, my work, my routine, my health, all that stuff that's not working is a reflection to go deeper into going into the expansion and go, how is it going to be better on the other side of letting that go, of letting that stress go of what's not working. And so these very mathematical, scientific approaches to things that don't bring in intuition, that ignore who are you at your core through your astrology, your human design, your passions, the love of what you're here to do, your purpose, like all the opportunities that keep day after day through all the muck and cloudiness, what gets projected media-wise and fear-based wise, these opportunities every day since 2020 for people to upgrade their being, which, speaking of which, part of the beauty of this kite formation and just the wild spiritual evolution of it, like, has anyone heard about the 3 Atlas, the object that's coming into our solar system that's not an asteroid, that has a consciousness to it, that's like self-directed. Like it's not just some, asteroid that's just like floating in. Like there's an actual thing here. I've been meditating with this energy. My experience is that it's here to help upgrade our DNA, which, if you're not familiar with that concept, it's really just the human body evolving into more of its celestial form of what it's truly capable of. It's just the physical expression of humanity's uprising and collective evolution and consciousness. And, if that's not layman's terms enough, let's just say that the days of us maybe evolving from primates, like that's long gone. Like, we're way past that. We're like evolving, like, like these are upgrades that are like way down the line that we're on. And so what was coming before that, it was that like month and a half of like Mars and South Node and Virgo of like all the health stuff and the ailments. And it was the shedding, the dormant, shitty DNA, just like the physical, and how that could be really uncomfortable. So, and I will say, like, being plugged into that old reality of using the mind to direct everything, because if you look at South Node and Virgo, I've been mentioning this with South Node and Virgo, and then it's Uranus in Gemini, and then Mercury's retrograde in Leo. So it's like Mercury is just taking on the energy of reviewing what the heart wants. So when it comes to our mind, we have to think from that higher perspective that's like way more out there in Gemini, and then the other Mercury ruled sign besides Gemini is Virgo, and it's a South Node. So it's like we can't rely on our old thinking patterns of just like, it's kind of like, it's okay, I used to whistle while I worked, and now I'll just work and I won't whistle, and it'll be mundane and be like that. It's like, it becomes so black and white and just like depressing that it can create a sense of like spiritual suffocation and like wanting to quit. Don't fucking quit during this time. Use the catalyst of whatever it is that you're going through to like go within, get the tools out. What was that most, recent intuitive message to like act on? I got one I need to do, I just remembered. And it's like, have conversations with people, connect, like do things together. If you don't like who you're around, or you feel alone, like raise your frequency, and then start reaching out to people. And raising your frequency is just going, I kind of just accept what has happened and where I'm at right now, and just like look to the opportunities of the freedom of what can be done. Like, why limit yourself? That's the old like world of things. It reminds me of like when we used to need information, like we had to go to a fucking public library and get a library card. Like people didn't have a computer, it's like maybe people had some books at home, but it's like if you wanted information, at least it seemed like you had to go to a public library. It's think about how it is now. Like you can get access to so much information, but really it's about the execution and the fusion of like what's actually on your heart and that creative potential. So I don't want to put fear out there, but like the train conductor of fate, and just saying like, hey, Wild Wild West of possibilities has already been blowing the train conductor whistle for a couple hours, and he's only going to do it for another hour. And then it's like, then it could feel like coming through the gate with everyone else into like this new collective reality that really sets up fully in the spring next year. But it's like, don't wait. It's like this is like the VIP like early bird gold ticket special, and it's not Willy Wonka, it's Chocolate Factory, like where it's nutso. It just seems nuts to the old reality and the old way of programming, because we're being guided by something greater than ourselves. And it just makes it so much better. And so this helps get out of like the survival and the mundaneness of just sacrificing and trading health and vitality to make money or to satisfy a relationship situation. So a lot of this, is, it can seem like a complex combination, but it's like doing things on your own terms, but then being so fucking just flexible and lenient and open and positive to where other people are coming from, and building and creating things together and having conversations at least about what can be created, even if there's a resource or something that hasn't shown up yet. Because with Venus, Jupiter in Cancer, it's like they had their conjunction this week, but there might be some things that take a month or something to like fully come through, or later, or the next step. So this stuff can seem a little counterintuitive, because like some of it's the invitation of the receptivity of this energy, of not grinding so hard, of like some divine laziness, of being like, hey, like, don't you feel better when you feel well rested and you like do the things that are good for your health? Like you drink clean water, you eat good food, you get good sleep, you don't like take in negative media and stuff like that just like stirs the pot of being too fucking stimulated, and then falling into a rut, and then being understimulated, and then like the thing that's getting whitewashed out is actually the creative possibilities of what we could be doing, that's not connected to the bandwagon of what everything else is going on. So that divine laziness and being taken care of, it's like it helps raise your vibration. It invites in these DNA upgrades that are through the astrology and the 3 Atlas. It shits out any just other stuff that needs to release. And so any addictions, whether it's like to anything, or even the addiction to the past. Some people are addicted to the past right now, and it's like, because it's familiar, like I could see that in this astrology, but it's like the most like ridiculous like rose-colored glasses or ever. It's like, yeah, it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm scared right now. So looking back, it was the hills filled with the sound of music, and it's like, what? So I would look at this as the rest, the divine laziness, that self-assuredness, like it raises the vibe and it invites in better receptivity. It's not one way or the other, just too all masculine, of all action, of all effort and creation. There's a receptivity to it too. And this, like, to summarize it, it's like, why would there be so much effort that was put in? My guys are saying especially since 2012, because that was a big shift point with the whole Mayan calendar that was based on the Venus retrogrades and the shifting of how the suns came over the ecliptic, it's basically the solar system's equator, just like we have one here on Earth, and started coming into more higher vibrational frequency in the universe. That there's been so much effort by, first it's kind of weird, because this is where we have to take responsibility. And this is, say this to your friends and family, like wake them the fuck up. The whole deception thing, and take the worst person that you could think of, the deception, whether it was like, I don't know, Fauci comes to mind, like political, medical, like all the things, and realize on some level, somewhere along the line, even if it was prenuptial, like an agreement to come in and have to deal with certain shit before you incarnated here, there was an active participation in that deception and that darkness and that evil, or whatever you want to call it, that we all had within us. So now we all have to forgive and let go of that stuff, and stop fucking around kicking the dead horse about what happened with the jab, or like that stuff will reveal itself in due time. But like, I think where things get like weird is like too much demands like for justice that don't have a place in the direction that we're going, that's just ego based, that's like, I will only feel better when I have justice, or when I feel like a wrong has been righted on some level, individually, relationship, or collectively. But that's the ego talking. So it's like looking at this as saying to people like, it's time to let that stuff go. It's time to like not keep like doing that. Like honestly, it's kind of weird to still see people like saying like never forget, you know, when people got mad that people were in fear and went a little crazy and like started like shaming and threatening people that weren't, you know, doing the mask and the jab and all that. It's like even that becomes a distraction now of the creative possibilities, you know. So it's like the forgiveness work is just going, well, you know, like we all played our part. Where's the frequency at if that's the narrative, right? Like, and so frequency really just, it's really a multi-dimensional way of saying, what's your mood? How you feeling? Because your mood as a human really is an intersection point for the lowest frequency that you're allowing yourself to operate at on a multi-dimensional level. And this astrology it's very quantum, it's very multi-dimensional. It's a higher frequency. Now, you've heard me say a lot about, you know, go create, find the passion, the love, go do it, be open to receiving it, where they can become one and the same too. Like the law of reciprocity, where it's like, it's giving and doing from a place of excitement, passion, not expectation. Like it's very non-transactional. Like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Because the reclusive, disconnected, aloof energy of people, like it's like still like the part that can still want to isolate because like somehow like being in the litter box with all the fucking poop, wearing the fucking, you know, mask out in the world and hanging out in the house and social distancing and all that stuff, and that like introverted nature that 2020 and those first couple years after created is somehow the comfort zone. It's like it's that same arena of like, this astrology still brings up like people want to be inspired by something, like some idea, vision, dream. I mean, be a crazy dream, but it's like the best thing to do is to actually like go out and like swing the hammer and actually go do it and not just dream about it. And so it's like, that's the easiest way to honestly separate who's going like with the old program still and who's going with the new upgraded program. And when I say program, I mean like the spiritual program, like your everyone's higher self, like getting, you know, like they're fucking, it's like a bingo card in your itinerary, and it's your fucking, you know, it's your invitation, but it's like, it's blank because you get to create it. You get to choose, like that's where we're at, like a lot of free will with this stuff of expansion and going like, hey, you get to go seek out new experiences and you get to have those. Like that's the program versus the old world that's just kind of being like, no, fuck it, you know, fuck this person, fuck this, fuck that, like very victim, or let me just like keep talking about the past, or, you know, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I've said it in prior horoscopes, but it's just like, it's the collective like bandwagoning stuff. And, you know, that's a lot of politics and trends and stuff. And who am I to judge or say like what's right or wrong? It's really just saying like, here's the two paths. And some people probably will still take that path because they probably did it in a past life, you know, like older time periods, you know, like 13th century or something, and like went into that, you know, cult too, or whatever that was. And but the easiest way to not go into buying into what anyone is saying, it's just really just the reality check of like fear. Get the fear out of the body, like move the body, Go for the walk around the neighborhood, take a new route, go for, a drive that's relaxed and easy and like not during rush hour. It's like clear the head, like reflect, journal. Like these are all South Node in Virgo, and then Uranus and Gemini is like, hey, like put the thoughts on the paper and just get like, sometimes you got to get out and see like what's alive. So, speaking of what's alive in me, number one, my higher self group coaching program called Higher Self Rising. I'm holding the price of the first 3 people that sign up at $297 per month. It's a month-to-month thing. There's no obligation. It's just, we do 4 calls each month. You get laser coaching from me. The first 3 people that sign up will also get a like little nugget like from me in terms of what's the big thing to pay attention to in your evolution in your astrology. So I already had a couple people that are a verbal yes. So if you want to be person number 3, reach out to me. Aquarius astrology readings are always on deck for people that want that individual work to see how to take all these collective transitions that we're going through and opportunities and relate it to your life, right? Because it's like when I do a collective horoscope, you have to try to take that and apply it to what's actually going on in your life in kind of this, DIY way. But if you want the fine tuning piece to see how is it impacting you individually, to build deeper structures of transformation and innovation that are direct to your soul and not just me speaking potentially, I know not 8 billion people are going to listen to this, but potentially to the 8 billion people on this planet. It's looking at this piece to see what is it that can really shift for you and going forward. I feel like a lot of people, when I zoom out collectively, and I'm not saying that to anyone specifically on this channel, but it's like, I think there's a lot of people that are taking, YouTube horoscopes or astrology stuff or spiritual stuff and using it as like pixie dust, like snorting fucking, what was that candy we used to eat as kids? It was like the pixie sticks, like fucking snorting it like unicorn fairy dust and then not executing or changing anything. And that's okay, because it's like, this isn't about spiritual talk anymore. This is about the applied spiritual shit. It's like applying the spiritual science and the embodiment of it to like really sync up with the transformations of things. And so, of course, I do that with the Higher Self Rising group coaching. I do that in astrology readings for people. I also offer the one-on-one private coaching, of course, for people that prefer like more private opportunities to work with me deeper. You really want to transform over a 3 to 6 month period. And let's see what else. I think that's all I got for now. I just want to say that what this all really comes down to, like, because this is a reminder, it's Leo season, right? Leo is about courage, bravery, creativity, but it also rules children. Like, it's the consciousness of kids. If you can't find the courage to do it for you, do it for your kids. If you don't have kids, do it for the generations that'll come after. Because there is a huge frequency shift available right now for the adults, regardless of age, that are willing to set their creative soul on fire and live in an enchanted state of being and excitement and freedom and creation and helping people. Because the role modeling of the frequency, even if the kids don't see it, kids are too young to know it, or the teenagers are off doing their thing or whatever, it unlocks a very dormant level of achievement in terms of this ancestral family trajectory of possibility that's very Jupiter and Venus conjunct in Cancer, that is further than we've ever been able to go in our modern history. I'm sure there's timelines where we've done it before, and there are what I would call spiritual ascended masters that have studied and embodied this stuff for so long. They have a sense of joy and passion and, almost goofiness. I knew a guy that was like that, and he was amazing. And he's literally like an ascended master on the other side now. Hey, Keith. And so it's like, it's one of those things where the possibilities are endless in terms of the impact that we can make on the next generations just by doing that. Because if you think about it, what we're moving away from of the fear and the collective amnesia that we're all protected and that we all have to survive and, be a lone wolf, where that was never meant to be that way, and to be divided and, easily conquered by, deception. Now that there's this invitation for this freedom of creative possibilities and excitement and passion, it's like unlocking that frequency it's such a gift to the next few generations that come after, because to the extent that we do that is to the extent that we make it easier for those younger generations. And so my deeper why for me personally is always legacy motivated. And I think at some point, even if you just look at the nodes and the positions in the current astrology, where it's like South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, it's like we have to find something bigger, more collective than ourselves that motivates us to show up and do what we do, to put the effort into things. And so that motivational, deeper why, because then it becomes less egoic. There's more of a humble energy behind it. And how this fits a lot of the astrology and gene keys this week, it's like, it's not about, getting more money or more crypto or a follower count or getting this relationship to like you or like to get something. It's just the inspiration of the frequency moving through you on a quantum field from your higher self that moves through so much easier when it's like, take care of your vitality, your health, your well-being, put yourself in the right environments by following your intuition. That gift frequency becomes this thing, hey Jessica, becomes this thing where it's like you are able to conquer fear. Like the fear, it's not that it's like not like gone. It's really just the litmus test reminder of like what frequency that we're connected into. So appreciate you all. For anyone watching on Facebook, if you want any of those links for astrology reading, the higher self group coaching, or private coaching, just hit me up for that. Of course, those links will be for the people on YouTube. See you next week.